Lost my mind, now I'm feeling so fine, cause I finally realized I don't need you. I'm feeling sublime, and you're watching me shine, and you realize it's time I don't need you.
That is a great, great space to be in. It's time for us to talk about our phenomenal woman of the week. And I believe that she had to be in that space too. I mean, she was years in the business. We lost her in late 2020. We're talking about the legend, Cicely Tyson. She left us December 28th, 2020. She was born 12/19 1924. And she was known for her portrayal of strong Black women in many roles she played. Um, she refused to take jobs that portrayed anything less. That was her standard. If she was going to be on the screen, it was going to be a strong, positive Black woman, a woman of strength. It wasn't going to be a negative image of a Black woman. She didn't believe in that, and she wasn't going to represent that. It said that she stood up at her job one day and said there has to be something better than this, and she left. And that is when she started her acting and her modeling career. She just released a memoir at the end of 2020. It's called Just As I Am. She paved the way for many women of color that we look up to. And today we just wanted to really honor the legend, Cicely Tyson.
Um,
Now, I'm sure Cicely went through a lot of things in life, as everyone does. And we've also gone through a lot of things in life. So, have you ever been discouraged from your goals? And how did you overcome it, Imani?
yeah, I think that when you lack clarity and when you lack community, that's just a very vulnerable space to be in because family, friends, the internet all want to know what are you doing, what's new, what's going on, and it's just like pressure to perform. And I don't think people ask questions with that intention to make you feel pressure or to make you feel like you are performing. But um, we live in a very achievement fueled society. So I think initially, early last year, I felt discouraged because I felt like I didn't have anything to say. So if someone said, what are you doing? What are you working on? Of course, I'm working on things, but they meant what book is coming out next. Like that's what they meant, you know? So in that, I I think I overcame that just by having a strong and solid circle. I think, especially if you're in a vulnerable season of life where you've got some big things that you're believing for or working toward, you can't share with everybody around you. Um, they might not believe it or they might not think it's big enough, you know. So now you feel like, wow, my biggest life goal is something that is not a big deal to this person. So um, I think just having a solid community was really big, and just immersing myself with other people who were doing similar things on online. So if I'm on social media, I'm looking at people who've achieved goals I want to achieve. That's all I see every day. That's it. So I know social media can be tiring even for me too, but it helps that when I log on, someone just was a bestseller. Somebody else is debt free. Somebody else is traveling with their children and they're showing pictures of their children acting a plumb fool in the airport. But it's still a goal to be able to just have that life of freedom and flexibility. So I think that taking special care of what I consume, what information I consume, what opinions I allow into my space those things really help me overcome that. And what about you? Have you ever been discouraged? Because you seem so on fire whenever we talk. I don't know if you cry first and then come on strong in the poll, and I don't know how you do it. But it's rare. In the 10 years I've never seen you. Mm-hmm.
I'm a very strong person, but I am definitely a crybaby behind closed doors. There are a lot of times I have those mornings where I just wake up and I just cry, especially in the last season that I was in. It was just a lot. Like there was days I would just cry. Like I would just cry. In the last relationship that I was in, I would just wake up and cry. I will go to sleep crying sometimes. Being homeless, I would just cry sometimes. Like, and no, I don't let people see me cry. I don't let people see me sweat. That's one thing my mother always taught me, and I'm not sure if it's a strength or a weakness at this point in life. But I don't believe everybody should see you cry, but I do believe you have to allow certain people to see your emotions and things like that. Yes, you are not the only person who has told me this, that I seem to have it together. I do not have it together by far. I try to have it together, but I definitely do not. And honestly, every day is a challenge. Every day is a challenge. I've been discouraged many of times. One of the things that I grew very conscious of while I was in North Carolina was negative talk. When I started limiting conversations that involved a lot of negative talk, because negative talk wasn't helping me advance my wasn't helping me advance the things that were going on. I started limiting the news. I don't watch the news a lot, because it's a lot of fear mongering, and I don't want to be fearful about stepping outside. I need to be faithful about stepping outside and making the steps that I need to do each day. So what you see is not me having it together. What you see is me trying to step out in faith, even though I'm trembling on the inside. And this year is going to be a full faith walk. This year is my faith walk. When I was in North Carolina, because I started working on myself and working on my purpose and things, my drive was better. My focus was better. I had a lot of positivity. I had a lot of encouragement in my circle and things like that. When I came back home, I knew what I was coming back home to. I love my family and friends dearly, but I knew what I was coming back home to. I knew what the talks were going to be like. I knew what they were going to lack. And not that I don't love my friends and family, you know what I mean? But I knew that that was going to slow me down. I remember having a conversation with you a couple months before I came back to New Jersey, and you said, well, why are you concerned about going back to New Jersey? And I knew that I was already going through a challenging time, being homeless, living with people, living with friends and things like that. But I knew that coming home was going to put me into a depression. And it really did. It really, really did. I was at probably my lowest point that I've ever been at in my life over the last 3 years. Mentally, spiritually, I won't say physically as much, but mentally, spiritually, definitely. I was really at my lowest. I didn't have any faith. I didn't know what to do. There was days that I would cry every day, all day, because I felt so lost. Um, I'm happy to have overcame that. And I'm also happy that I went through that time. Like, I'm truly happy that I did go through that time. Because like I've always said, the things that we go through help develop who we are now. I'm sorry. The things that we go through help develop who we are now. And I developed some characteristics that I needed to develop over the last couple of years. I needed my back to be against the wall a little bit. I needed the lion to come back out. Like, I really did. And I needed to do it unapologetically, you know? So it was a hard time, and I did go through a lot of things, but I am very happy to where I am now. And I just overcame it by, first of all, lifting myself up. Number one. I also overcame it by remembering what I went through. I did a meditation the other morning, and the gentleman said, write 5 bad situations that you were in life, and then write what happened after, like what benefited you out of that situation. And honestly, like, I pulled myself out of the rut before that, but looking at those 5 situations and like seriously writing down and assessing everything that happened and every domino that happened because of that, girl, I was about to have a praise break up in my house. Because it really was for my good. Like, it really, really, really was for my good. And when those things happened, yes, I thought it was the end of the world. Some of those things, I thought it was the end of the world for years. It took me a year to realize it wasn't the end of the world. Or it took me months to realize it wasn't the end of the world. Like, it took me a long time. It wasn't overnight. Oh, it's not the end of the world. No, it took me years thinking this is the end. Took me. I failed, and is there anything, like, is there any more to this? You know what I mean? So, like, learning that and going through that, and honestly being where I am today, I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. I'm grateful for the discouragement. I'm grateful for the struggles. I'm grateful for the challenging times, because without that, I wouldn't be as strong as I was today, by far. And that is the power of God being in my life and being able to help me reflect and see over the mountain.
I love that. That sounds like a very powerful exercise that you were doing. And I just love the point. A lot of people think that they grow after they've come out of this discouragement, like once they're away from that. But we don't often think of discouragement as an ingredient, you know, that kind of makes up that growth. So it sounds like from your story, you did a great job of just connecting the dots between the two. So this wasn't a test meant to discourage me. It was a test that in the process I was discouraged, but look what it resulted in. Like, look what fruit that seed of discouragement yielded. So I hope that you can see how even in those situations, ones I know of, ones I don't know of, that God trusted you to be able to be the type of person that could live your life. And that sometimes I think we are like, you trust me more than I trust myself. I need you to calm down on that. But But I just love that, like, who you are today is your certificate of completion for all the things that you have been through, and you'll get more,
And I was gonna
more
say,
certificates. Mhm,
for the rest of your life.
mhm,
Rest of your life. So I just wanted to take some time to reflect because this is the second week of the second month of the year. And just like everybody, it's the beginning of the year, everybody hits their goals running with full force and full speed in the beginning of the year. Um, so how are we going to knock these goals out this year? Are you knocking goals out daily? How are you knocking those goals out daily? Um, what are you doing to make sure you're knocking those goals out daily? In episode 2, I want to say we talked about implementing tasks. Um, we we chose to add 3 tasks to our schedule once a week. Um, for me, it was meditation, evening workout, and family prayer. For and Imani will talk about hers, but we that's what I started in the beginning of 2021. Meditation, evening workout, family prayer. Did they go throughout the year? No, they did not.
mhm,
No, they did not. I did start working out again towards the end of the year. The last quarter of the year, I started working out again. Um, family prayer. We weren't doing family prayer. We were doing a family meeting. Um, and that was going well. My college age child is no longer living with me. So he is living on campus by the grace of God. So I don't really have anybody to have a family meeting with, but we do talk more and we do talk about our goals. And even my youngest son, who's here a couple days a week, we talk about our goals too, and we talk about things that we can do to work towards our goal. My youngest son has decided what he wants to do. We'll see how long this lasts, but he seems to be very into writing books, so I'm going to help him publish some books. And he likes illustration, so I'm helping him develop some illustration and things like that. And I just want them to know that I'm here to help them, reach their goals and things like that. So Imani, what were your 3 things and did they last throughout the year?
um, well, my 3 things were creating a daily routine, following a schedule or planner, and prioritizing self-care, and accountability. One of the things I think we talked about was sometimes you have friends or family or supportive people that love and care about you, but that's still different from accountability. So sometimes those hundreds of people that make up your family and friends, or I should say, out of those many people that make up your family and friends, you might not find any accountability over there. You might find a handful. So I think my goal is to do a better job of saying this is what I want to do and telling people I need accountability in this. Like, hold me to it, check in on me with these things that I say I want to do. Because if you don't check in on me, I'm not so sure if I'm going to check in on myself, especially when you're starting a new habit or a new goal. Ooh, So, so that was definitely something that I do feel like implemented. Um, creating a daily routine and schedule and following a planner. Interestingly enough, I feel like I could not bring myself to do that last year, but at the beginning of this year with my new position and both my boys going to two different schools, and oh my goodness, it's like the motivation to actually do those two goals came from a necessity. So apparently, I just need urgency in order to get things done. I'm trying to get some of my discipline can do the job for me, but I guess I'm just not there yet, and that's all right. But I live with my planner and my Google Calendar and my phone calendar, and I just have things going off all day long. Ding, 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 ding. I figured out how to share my calendar, so I have other people having their computer off. They're trying to figure out how to turn it on. So I have everybody who's attached to me who has something planned. Um, they're receiving multiple alerts. So I hope that as I practice these habits, or I should say that I practice these tasks, hopefully they become habits. Because gosh, there is such a gutting feeling to forget something or be late and know like I can't blame the weather. I can't blame someone else. Like I just dropped the ball. And we're not gonna be perfect, but like we shouldn't be late or forgetting like super important things. Like products exist for this purpose, and you can get them for free using Google Calendar and your calendar. It's like so. I know for me, I get really upset. Like I take it personally when I don't um, like get back to a very important email or whatever the case is. So I try to have all that stuff down. So I guess I touched on all three. Yes to the building community and self-care last year. That was a 2021 goal. I did it that year. But the schedule planning and the daily routine is a goal that I've realized in 2022.
Well, honestly, I'm happy that you mentioned the word urgency because when you don't have an urgency for things, they don't happen. Like this, it's life straight up. If you don't have an urgency for things, they don't happen. That is with your
Mm-hmm.
business, that is with your children, that is with your relationships. It's with everything. If you don't, if that thing is not urgent or it's not priority for you, it ain't
Mm-hmm.
happening. It is not
Mm-hmm.
happening. So, you can try, but without that full dedication, you're doing a half job,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't want to do half jobs, you know what I mean? Um so I'm going to challenge you to add one task this week. I'm going to add one task this week. I have been working out with my girlfriend twice a week. That workout is 30 minutes a day or 30 minutes to an hour. Um, my workouts are like 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to challenge myself to really get that like a full 20-minute workout, at least 2 out of 3 of the days of the week that I'm not working out with my girlfriend. Um, it is great to have accountability partner because she wants me to help her work out. It makes me accountable and it also makes me work out. So I am grateful for that. One of the other things that we talked about it earlier in our broadcast, was our word for the year. Um, let's sit and ponder on our word for the year next year, next episode. And we will open with discussing what our word is going to be for 2022. Um, I think I know what mine is, but I'm going to ponder and pray over that a little bit more, and see what God shows me. So we will discuss um next episode. Imani, what is going to be the one task that you are going to implement this week?
frankly, at first I couldn't think of anything, and then you mentioned how often you work out, and I recall that time I signed up for a gym membership last year and said this was going to be my year. And now they're still giving money, but I ain't got no abs yet. So, goodness gracious, I'm paying their rent, keeping their lights on. So, I would say my goal is movement. I want to be realistic with myself. So my goal is movement, at least 3 times a week. And so that way it can include going to the gym. But if it's an at-home workout or Zumba, I love Zumba. You just morning sweat and you're like, I don't know why I'm so hot, but this is great. You have so much fun. And you don't even realize it. That's what I need. Like, distract me, okay? So I think that's a more feasible goal because I know, like, for example, the goal I attend, they close at 8 o'clock. So if I'm done with everything I need to do at home by 7:30, it becomes pointless to drive and, cram it in. But I think instead of just saying, oh, forget it, I'll move it to tomorrow, I can do 30 minutes or whatever it is at home. There's no reason why I can't do that. So I think I'll try to maybe make my lofty goal a little more realistic and say movement 3 times a year. I mean, a year, Lord Jesus. That's what I've been doing 3 times a year. 3 times a week.
Yeah, some sort of movement. And that's why I'm like, and that is the thing, like, we always push to make our goals sometimes like overboard, but make them realistic. You know what I mean? That's why I said, like, right now, I do a very, very light workout in the morning. It's probably 10 to this week. I want to be committed and really do a good 15 to 20 minutes, like a strong 15 to 20 minutes. So that way I'm getting into that motion where it feels good. So then because that 15 to 20 minutes feels good, I want to do more. You know what I mean? So because also you have to implement the feel. Remember, it takes 21 days. It takes 21 days to break a habit, and I think 90 days to implement a new habit. So it is like those times are getting it into the habit. Getting into the habit of it is where I want to be. So that's what I'm going to do. So next week we want you to implement one task, and we want you to think of what your word is going to be for 2022. And we are wishing all of you beautiful angels a blessed and productive week. And we thank you for checking out Heaven Sent and spending your time with us.
Yay!
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
God got me planting his seeds. Let me breathe, cause I need him. Stay faithful, not hateful. I'm playful, cause he got me. He called me his angel. I'm flying to heaven. Just know that he sent me from heaven to flex it.